speech is to get to the point, and the time limits for that speech are 5 to 7 minutes, and the title of his speech is Reducing Water Use to Only Two Things That Matter. Please welcome.
First of all, I hope that there is some truth that volleyball on the weekends can make up for a lot of sitting during the week, because that's my plan, and I think it's working too well, but that's, anyway. I digress. So, water use in California, as we get the slides up here. Water use in California is a big problem. Now, I know that's not going to be news to most of us. We've seen many pictures such as this one, where it shows drought conditions. So the water problems are really both episodic, such as 2014, as well as just long-term structural. California has had water problems for decades and decades. It's a big, complex issue. Now, the key with big, complex issues is to distill them down to what really matters. So I'm here to tell you that there's two things that we can do that really make a difference in reducing our water use in California. So those two things are, you can use your vote to really drive things. And the second thing is, we can reduce the water that we use for our lawns, out of all things, surprisingly enough. Now, government agencies divide up water use into three big categories. It's residential, commercial, and agriculture. Now, by show of hands, let's who here thinks that the biggest consumer of water in California is residential? How about commercial? How about agriculture?
I did a graph about that one.
So apparently the wisdom of the crowds worked once again. It is agriculture. What you may have not quite known, I didn't know this for sure, is the degree to which that is the case. So 80% of our state's water is used in agriculture. So we're talking about 6 times the amount that every resident in California uses. So that's really the story, right? So if we fix the agriculture problem, we fix our water use issues in California. I mean, actually, coincidentally, yesterday I heard a story. Apparently there are some investors now who are buying up California farmland, not for the farming, but actually to take advantage of the water. So what happens is, so each farm gets an allotment of water. Some farms don't use the full allotment, so investors buy that farmland and they sell the excess water to neighboring farms at apparently a pretty nice profit. So that's how valuable water is in California. So if we go to the next slide here, so this just gives you a sense of per capita water use in California. As you can see, the coast is much better than inland. So why is that? It's hotter in inland, and also it is much less densely populated. Those are two big factors that really drive up per capita water use anywhere, really. So I'll be the first one to acknowledge that agriculture worldwide is the biggest user of water. So it's not just a California thing. You go to most places in the world, agriculture is going to be number one. But the point I want to drive home here is that let's just think about where we live. We live in California. California is a dry place, by and large. The places where our agriculture really thrives are, almost desert-like. So let's think about whether agriculture, to the extent that California has it, really makes sense. So this is where voting comes in. We can we should really think about water use as one of those issues next time that we go and vote. So we have identified the 800-pound gorilla in the room, right? It's agriculture, but we can move on from there. So let me break down the Californians into 3 camps, or where they might reside in regards to water use. So over here, we're going to have a small, dedicated, outspoken minority of people who are going to be politically active and try to get the rest of us involved in water use. Over here, we're going to have another group who are going to say, you know, frankly, I don't care so much about water use, I care about other issues. And over here, we're going to have most of us. And the great thing is that we can make a difference here too. And if we go to the next slide, I'll explain how. So this is urban water use. So it excludes all the farms. So as you can see here, residential exterior, that basically means lawns. So why am I going to pick on lawns? Well, two reasons. First of all, they're the biggest user of water in residences, which we can directly control. And secondly, I'm sure most of you will agree with me that, if we go to the next slide, that lawns are less crucial than things such as showers and toilets. So that is where the direct opportunity lies for us. Now, what can we do about this? Well, there's two things. First of all, we have to get rid of the notion that lawn should be this lush green thing. That works in other parts of the country. It doesn't work in California. We can change our lawns to be less water intensive and more appropriate for, basically more native to the state. Second of all, we can just reduce the size of our lawns and just be more aware of just truly how much water these lawns need. It's been actually shown that often people overwater the lawns and they just don't know any better. So let's bring this all back. Water use in California, one of those big complex issues. Big complex issues are a problem because we usually freeze when we see a big complex issue. We don't do anything. Just too hard. So again, the key is to simplify big complex issues, not oversimplify. And the reason I say this is not an oversimplification is because this will make a difference. It's something that's actionable and it's something that we can actually do. So let's simplify to those two things. So let's lend our vote, let's lend our support to our brothers and sisters over here who are leading the charge. And more directly, we can just focus on cutting lawn use, and that will make a big difference in California's water use. Thank you very much.
That was quite informative. I'm glad you did not suggest that we lower our toilet use. Given it was the same percentage as lawns, I think lawns are much more tractable. The next order of business today is table topics. This is when an individual posts questions to the room and picks a specific individual in the room to answer those questions. Our table topics master today is, I think, Matt. I forgot the paper there. Yes, Matt. And he's probably going to be asking questions about
Chinese New Year tomorrow. Xinen Kuai For those who speak Mandarin, forgive me if I'm starting tomorrow, it is going to be the year of the sheep, or the year of the goat. Sheep is one of 12 zodiac signs to predict fortune and prosperity. In mainland China, a particular interpretation of the characteristics associated with the year of the goat has state media alarmed. Traditionally, girls born in the year of the goat are supposed to have a harder life. Local media reports claims that these beliefs drive some couples to deliberately plan the birth of their child around that horoscope. Do you think that being told that fortune or misfortune is in store for you can actually affect your future and affect a self-fulfilling prophecy? Martin?
Well, that wasn't very fair. I actually don't believe that being told that you have a certain destiny for how prosperous you're going to be in your life will really affect the outcome of the rest of your life. I think that there are definitely people who would be influenced by that. I'm personally not one of them because I don't really put too much store by things like destiny or Chinese zodiacs or stuff like that. But I definitely agree that there are psychological reasons for self-fulfilling prophecies where you would have some prior knowledge of what your potential future state might be. Thank you. And then you would sort of gravitate towards that path. I think definitely you sort of see that even in work. As a new employee myself, I've sort of seen that when someone gives me a sort of an open-ended question and hopes that, well, maybe I'll come to some radical new conclusion or come up with some new way or alternative method of doing things. I think they want to not really steer me in the direction that things have been done before, so that I can kind of explore everything and evaluate everything for myself. But inevitably, you sort of start talking to coworkers, you start talking to people who've done this kind of analysis or work in the past, and you decide, well, everyone has done it that way before, so probably that's the way to go. So, in that sense, yeah, I'd say I'm partially influenced by the self-fulfilling prophecy bias, but I kind of hope that in my life, I'm not really driven too much by that. So, thank you.
So the Lunar New Year event is not just a single day, but rather 15 days, and it's also really called the Spring Festival, if you translate it. Fireworks, sweet foods, floating lanterns, and other cultural traditions are celebrated for 1/3 of the world's population, from China to Indonesia, Hong Kong, many, many countries. In today's internet world, with fewer information barriers than ever before, it is easier now for previously separate cultures to mix. One might imagine, in the future, a single global culture shared by everyone on the planet. Would you be a proponent of the unity of a single global culture, or do you think that cultural separation and diversity is something that should be more guarded? Kyle.
That's a real tough one. I would say yeah. I don't know that there's a real easy answer to that one. I think that there are valid points to both sides. I think that like it or not, we are becoming one global culture, and everyone is going to have to adapt to that fact. However, I know that various cultures and differences is what makes us all unique and special, and it's important to hold on to those things as well. I would say that I would lean towards going towards the one global culture, because I think that that's where we're headed. We are becoming a global society, and because it's also important to learn about, to get to see all those different perspectives, to get to see everybody and how they're all different, but then to also be able to respect and appreciate all those different cultures and not just stay in your small bubble. Thank you.
China and Hong Kong have a film genre called Hesuipian, devoted to Lunar New Year. I might have said that wrong. The films are usually illogical, uplifting comedies with a focus on families and happy endings to make viewers feel warm and fuzzy, similar to Christmas movies, really. Do you think that the world would be a strikingly different place without holidays that encourage people to value family, friends, and treat each other well? Alex?
Without those movies, cultures, and traditions, I would be a completely different person. Even though I'm pretty logical, I grew up in a Chinese family. I'm a snake, I'm a Scorpio. If I meet someone and they're a pig, or they're like not a water sign, my parents are like, no, it's not gonna work. So I'd say that these families and all these movies, it brings an uplifting message. It's one of those like, oh, I look forward to it. I look forward to Christmas, to Chinese New Year, to all that money and all those presents. I mean, no, family, not money. But yeah, it's one of those. It's changed for the better. It's one of those things that it's a nice break from society. Like if you don't have that relaxation, something to look forward to, it's kind of like, well, what are you looking forward to at the end of the year? Not much. What are you looking forward to next year? Also not much. I feel that my life, because of all these cultures and traditions, I'm really looking forward to Chinese New Year. I'm looking forward to bringing new people that have never gone to festivals. I'm looking forward to celebrating with my family, and without that, I might never have that. So I'd be a different person. Thank you.
I have 2 more questions. We have time for both? Okay. Instead of wrapped gifts that other nationalities give at their main holiday season, for Chinese New Year, children receive red envelopes full of money. The amount of money is usually an even number, but the amount cannot be divisible by 4 because the number 4 means death. As a giver, would you prefer giving purchased items or money? What about as a receiver, Sean?
As a giver of gifts, I'm a very lazy person. So I would always want to give money. But in American society, it's a thought that counts, so I think presents are better for the person receiving. I think that's all. That's fine.
Okay. In China, it is becoming increasingly popular to hire a fake girlfriend or boyfriend to take home during Chinese New Year to stave off parental pressure to get married. For as little as $20 or as much as $600 a day, college students rent themselves out. Most Americans, I think, would not appreciate this level of parental involvement in their relationships. Looking at the other side of the coin, however, do you think that this parental pressure could have any positive effects? Aaron?
I definitely think that parental pressure can have positive effects because typically that pressure is stemmed from a strong desire to want to see you get the best and have the best for yourself. I think a lot of times when we're young and we're dating, our priorities are screwed up. And we look, and a lot of times we don't even really know who we are in ourselves, therefore what we can contribute, therefore who we work well with. And a lot of times parents, seeing us and in their ultimate wisdom, are able to kind of foresee issues and therefore help us with that guidance. However, there are 2 sides to that coin, and I do not agree with bringing somebody fake home. No, I mean, because for me, that's precious. My family and letting you inside what's close to me is precious. And anybody I talk to, I feel like it's going to be attractive, it's going to have a good resume, so it's not about that. It's about the person, the character, the bond. And I would not bring someone there to people who I'm bonded with when I have a bond. You'd be fine. But no. So I think the pressure should happen to a certain extent and with room for the child to prove themselves and actually maybe change their perspective of the parents and gain their respect in a way that they didn't see fit. Thank you.
Toastmaster, pass it back to you.
Thanks, Matt. Those were quite very engaging questions. For the evaluation section today, our general evaluator is Hua. And no? Martin, of course. Thank you, Martin.